Hello Power Rangers fans and welcome back to Toku Topics. As you can see here today, we are talking about Power Rangers Dino Charge figures. And this is a good example of a place to start. So basically, if you didn't see on the channel a couple weeks ago, I released my very first Patreon request video, which was kind of a retrospective look back at the entirety of the Dino Charge, Dino Super Charge era of Power Rangers. And in that video, while making it, I kind of got inspired again to look back at the figure lines that those two toy lines had, because it was incredible. Back then, Bandai was able to pump out so many figures, not only just for the Rangers, but also for the villains. They made Monsters of the Week, pretty much every single one of the generals, and like I said with the Rangers, pretty much any form you would have seen on the show, they got. Even some obscure stuff, like the original Purple Ranger, the male version of the Purple Ranger, only seen in one episode of the show. That is a pretty cool, like, quote-unquote deep cut for them to have made. So today here in my next Patreon exclusive video, which if you're seeing this on Patreon right now, that is going to be 1 month before it is available up on the channel. So if you're seeing it on the channel right now, then this has been a Patreon video exclusive to Patreon members for the past month. And if you'd like to see other exclusive videos 1 month earlier than everybody else, you can join my Patreon with the link in the description below. So today here we're going to take a look at all of my figures that I have for this line, as well as a couple additional ones that I bought specifically for this video, because like I said, I got back into this figure line doing that video, and there's a lot of gaps, there's a lot of holes that I have in my collection with that. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and start with, what do I have so far? So, as much as I hate having the figures just kind of in a bag like this, and I do, this is just how they were stored in my giant Dino Charge box of toys back home. I'm still in the dorm at the time of this video. If you're seeing this, up on the channel, then it's probably past the time of my graduation, because this is being filmed in early April, and you're seeing it publicly in early May, so that's a fun thing. But yeah, the last time I was home for spring break, I dug this out to take a look at, and let's take a look at it. So I never got a ton of Dino Fury. I knew I was going to do it once in this video. I never got a ton of Dino Charge figures back in the day, because back then was before I had my own income, and my parents were still buying me all my figures and stuff like that. But I did get a couple of them. The only villain that I had gotten, or one of the only villains I had gotten back then, was Fury, which was kind of the default villain, I'd say. Like, back when the figures were first shown off, back in like 2014, before the show started, and we were just like in the prototype stage, Fury was the one shown off to be in the first wave with the Rangers, and that was back during an era of Power Ranger toys where pretty much the only villains that we got were like one not even necessarily main bad guy, and then one foot soldier. So like Megaforce, we got Rock and the Loogie, or Super Megaforce, we got Prince Vakar and an X-Borg. So it was kind of assumed that we would only get, Fury and a Vivix for Dino Charge. And it kind of seemed like that was going to be the case until we just started getting a ton of figures kind of like in the fall-ish assortment of the line. But so I did get Fury back then, which his sword was sitting down here somewhere. So I definitely did get him. He also came in like a 6-pack with the Rangers. I did not get the 6-pack. I'm pretty confident, even though I don't have the packaging for him anymore, I did get Fury just on his own. And I got, actually, I'm pretty sure every Ranger on their own. So let's go ahead and dig them out. I definitely did. See, that's one thing. So these figures were notorious, and every time I try to find them on eBay, because I was trying to find a bunch for this video, it's always the shoulder pads that are missing. I know I'm not missing any shoulder pads. So this shoulder pad is just down in here somewhere, so we'll find it. But I know that there's a story with Black, which I just kind of neglected to say before I moved on to Gold. But here's Gold, because I remember getting him, I want to say I got him for like Christmas or something like that, to go with like my Fury and everything. But back to the Black Ranger story, I actually won this in a giveaway from Morphin Legacy back in 2015. So hey, Morphin Legacy Jay, if you're watching, thank you from like nearly 10 years ago. So I did. Wow, I can't even believe that that's true. But I got him. I got Red, of course. Gotta have Red. I just realized, I'm pretty sure Blue is not in this bag, and there's a reason for that. I do have, Blue is most certainly not in this bag. But like I said, there's a reason. The reasoning for that is that back at home, and I'll put a picture up right now, I actually have Dino Charge Blue and Ninja Steel Blue standing next to each other on kind of just a miscellaneous shelf, because those two characters are portrayed by the Sudarso brothers, and I wanted to have them together on a display. So I do have Koda's figure, I just forgot to put it in the bag, which I just realized. So I do have it, but there's Pink for Shelby. And then down here we have Riley, green. So Everybody's in perfect condition too. You know, not missing any shoulder pads or anything like that. Because I was 14 when I got these figures, so I was old enough to know to take care of them and treat them okay. And speaking of shoulder pads, I just saw it. Here's Chase's shoulder pads. So like I said, I know I didn't lose it. It's just those are very easy to pop off and then get lost. Now, unfortunately, I wish I got more Rangers. I didn't get a ton of the Wow, look at him. I'm gonna spoil it. Graphite. I got Graphite, but his shoulder pad is also popped off in here somewhere. Which I also know that I have this one. Where is his shoulder pad? Oh, I see it. I see it. I see it. Yeah, these are terrible. But yeah, basically, I did get Graphite. There's actually, and I'll try to find the picture, but there was a really fun night back in 2015 when Super Charge toys had started dropping, where I had gotten some Christmas money, and I kind of went like on a little shopping spree. So I got the Titanozord, and I got the Plesio Charge and Terra Charge Zords. I got the Graphite figure, all that kind of stuff. So that was really, really fun. I actually remember I had Graphite and T-Rex Super Charge mode figures in my hand. And then I saw that they had the Titanozord, and I had to put something back to be able to get that. And I put the Supercharged Red back. And here we are, 8 years later. I still don't have a Supercharged Red figure in my collection, but I did get Graphite that night. So, I've always loved this suit a tremendous amount. The extra Kyoryuger suits were always really, really cool. But unfortunately, and like I said, I do have blue, but that was as far as I got with Rangers, except for obviously purple back here. But we'll get to him in a second. So I never got Miss Morgan as a figure. I never got Silver, I never got Aqua, or any of the modes. I don't have any Dino Drives, I don't have any Dino Steels, Super Dino Drives, none of that, unfortunately. The only other figures I had gotten back in the day was I had gotten this, the Terra Charge Megazord, whose blade arm had popped off and is sitting in this bag. So I can definitely see why these figures are so hard to find complete on eBay, because pieces of them just fall off all over the place. But there's his little arm blade. Oh, and I dropped it. There we go. So now that's finally back intact there. So these were really cool too. They made 3 of these. Unfortunately, they never made one for Dino Charge, but they did Dino Charge, Terra Charge, and Plesio Charge. The Dino Charge one and even the Plesio Charge one definitely look interesting. Dino Charges is definitely very, very basic and probably not the best, but honestly, Terra Charges turned out quite good. But these I always thought were pretty cool. They were sort of like a spiritual successor in a way to like the Retrofire line from like the end of the Disney era, and even a little bit of Neo Saban. Megaforce had some figures, so did Super Megaforce. So these were kind of like that. But what was really cool about these is that since we got so many monsters, it made it so you can also have like Megazord battles with those figures as well, because you could like have figure size Zords to fight them and stuff like that. So I assumed that was always kind of the intention behind it, making these Megazord figures too. And I really like these. So the only one I got was Terra Charge. So I don't have Dino or Plesio. And then the final figure that I gotten back during the Dino Charge era was this guy, whose, surprise, surprise, pieces have fallen off, or a piece has fallen off. And that is his leg. But this is the Vivizord, which is the giant combined form of all of the Vivix, or a bunch of Vivix together, which is like really nicely painted and sculpted. Like, really nice. I love that black wash and stuff kind of look that it has going on in some areas. It's a really cool figure, but this is like a perfect example of like a figure for the Megazords, because you only ever saw these guys giant and never like Ranger sized. But you could have them fight, Rangers with this whole figure scale, but that was it. So I had unfortunately only gotten 2 villains, Fury and a Vivizord, and I gotten all 6 Rangers, and then Graphite, and I got the Terra Charge Megazord, which is not like a bad lineup of figures by far. Especially with how rare these figures have become. I mean, not these ones necessarily in particular, but the Dino Charge figure line has become a very rare figure line. So, we're going to try to fill some gaps here. We're not going to go like Project Unlock levels of like, I'm going to get all of them with, as fast as possible. But one day, I would like to have all of these figures and have this full toy line, because it was really cool. So we'll start with adding one more new one, which is the original Power Ranger, like I took a look at the very beginning of the video. So, funnily enough, I've had this for nearly 4 years and just have never opened it. So, my buddy Corey, who I'm sure you've seen on the channel before or other things on YouTube, Frozen Stratos, I bought this off of him in 2019. I got it from him in 2019, Then it just ended up in the Dino Charge box, and I never opened it. So this has been sealed for as long as that, and I feel bad kind of opening it, but I'm gonna open it. And here, as you can see, this is part of the final wave actually, where they had made all 10 Rangers in Dino Super Drive: Silver, Singe, Doomwing, I forgot his name, Professor Strickler, and then original Purple. So this was always a really cool figure that they made, because it was like, somewhat obscure, and I've always loved the Kyoryuger Violet suit in both male and female versions, so I'm glad that we got a figure of this. But we can go ahead and add Purple, in a way, to my collection, so let's go ahead and open him up right now. So there's this really cool, fun, unadvertised action feature, to where when you open him up and you take him out of just the pose he's in, you can actually have him be in his broken back form from Kyoryuger. But no, just all jokes aside, here he is, the original Purple Ranger, finally freed from that package after many, many years, and it's exactly what you would expect it to be. It's just the male mold in purple with a new helmet and new symbol, of course. But yeah, great addition. I like the color of purple, like the shade of purple they used. I think is pretty accurate. It looks really good. So we'll go ahead and put him back here off to the side, and of course he comes with, and I try not to block anybody too badly, but he also of course comes with his blaster, his morpher, and his saber, which is not focusing there. Oh, was it focusing? There we go. So it comes with the same accessories that the entire main team did. So that is a start with at least one Ranger. Now, there's going to be at least 4 other figures that I'm going to be showing off here today, adding to the collection, but that is the only Ranger. So a while ago, like a very long while ago, in preparation, because I knew I was doing that Dino Charge video and I wanted to do a follow-up video like this, I got 2 of the Monster of the Week figures off of eBay. Their prices will be up on screen, but not too terribly priced figures, honestly. So I was trying to keep it in like the realm of like $10-ish, and also like in good condition. And also what was good about it too is I was trying to kind of find the ones that didn't come with accessories that could really get lost, because that definitely made it easier to find them more complete if they didn't have any accessories. So I found Bones, which is a Season 1 monster from somewhere like in the middle of the season, like pretty much right after Gold debuts, I think is when he shows up. But these monster figures are great. So this is the first Monster of the Week one that I was finally able to get. Limited articulation, of course, but like that's perfectly fine. Just the fact that this exists is cool enough. It's an era of Power Ranger toys that like we really just hadn't really had since like the Mighty Morphin era, where we got so many Monsters of the Week. And it's an era that we haven't had since then. I don't know if we ever will again, because it's just really cool, and I'm glad Dino Charge got to do it, because they didn't make every Monster of the Week, and there's probably some ones that they should have made that would have like completed trios and stuff like that, but the ones that they did, pretty solid. So I like how Bones turned out quite a bit. Let's get a good look at his face there. Pretty good paint applications, and like maybe he could use like a black wash or something, but for the most part I think it's a really well done figure. So we'll put Bones back there. And then for Season 2 from Super Charge, I found Game Face, which is just a wonderful villain. So like I love this. He has all of these different sports related merchandise tools on the back. His head is literally a basketball through a basket hoop, which is so cool. Like it's just one of those wonderful Power Rangers monsters. Like his shoulder pads are a volleyball and a soccer ball. Like look at, like this is just beautiful. So I love that they made him into a figure. Very colorful as well. Also limited articulation, everything like that, and no accessories with him, but still, I love this one a lot. So I'm glad that I was able to get him for also a pretty cheap price. Like I think Bones, and I've already put it up on screen, but I'm pretty sure Bones and Sports Face here, or Game Face, or whatever his name was, were both like not even $10, or like a little over $10. So there is that. However, we're not done. I actually have 2 other packages that I need to open. And we will start with this one from Mercari. So I've never used Mercari before. Fun fact. So this is a first for me. And I found a pretty good deal on him there. If I can actually open it up. Oh, he's in there. Okay. Here he is. This is Spellbinder from Season 1. One of the earlier Season 1 villains, who just looks really cool. Like, I love this one a lot. Like, look at the design on him, with the crow and everything like that. And, like, look at his head. That is so well done. So this is another one that also didn't have any accessories, because, he barely even has hands. They're all just kind of masked in all of his feathers. But the paint application work, is fantastic. There's a little like piece of hair on him, but yeah. So I got him obviously just used, but in good condition for a good price. His price will be up on screen probably right now, and I'm very happy with how Spellbinder turned out. That I was able to find him for a pretty good price, as I was trying to kind of find with all of these guys. So there's still a good amount of monsters left for me to track down, especially like the main generals. And of course, the main generals are the more expensive monster figures to find. Like Sledge, for example, because he was a Power Rangers exclusive villain. So his figure is pretty hard to find. Plus, also, almost every time I see a listing for it, he's missing his shoulder pads or his cannon or whatever, so it's really, really hard to find. And of course, Poisandro is a figure that was released in a relatively obscure like subline a couple years after Dino Charge. So that makes her figure also very, very expensive. But we do have one more monster figure to take a look at here today that I also found once again for a good price, but this one is actually sealed. And here he is. So this is Slammer from Season 1, one of the earlier Season 1 monsters as well, which is fun because, like, look at this. Like, you can see he doesn't have any accessories or anything, but he takes up so much plastic space for just nothing. So, I mean, he's also just kind of weirdly angled in there. You would think he should be, like, over to the side a little bit more. But, so as you can see, Season 1's lineup is actually where I'm a little bit more closer in completion, because that's where they released the 7 Ranger figures that I have. Sledge I do not have, Terra Charge I do. As you can see, I pretty much got most of my figures during Season 1, and really didn't get much of any figures during Season 2 for whatever reason. I don't really know why that happened, but I never got Wrench, or Kyoryuger, or Ice Monster. Now we have Slammer, now we have Spellbinder. I still need Stingrage, I still need Puzzler. Obviously I just got Bones, and I have the Vivizord, so we're missing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 figures from the entire Season 1 lineup. So, that could be worse. So Slammer is a salty sea ship captain with the ability to trap innocents in a cage that he slings from his shoulder. And there's a picture of him from the show. Obviously, the figure is not as paintedly detailed as that, but the sculpting's there. So, that's one of those things, too, to where the sculpting is most certainly there on all of these monster figures. So I'm sure for customizers, this was a field day to make it look as good as that. But still, just the fact that it exists is the cool thing, that I don't really care how much painted or how accurate it really was with all the colors and everything. And here is Slammer released from his plastic cage, ironically enough. So here he is. Looks really good. I love this whole captain pirate kind of thing that they mixed into this. It's a interesting mixture of themes, but it works really well. You have a little bit of articulation there, no arm articulation, just a slight elbow bend, which really doesn't get you very far, but you do have some legs that can bend and bend at the knees and all that good stuff. So not terrible in the legs. His head also can rotate, but it kind of, well, I was gonna say it gets in the way with the cage, but not really. So it's decent. You do get the nice faces painted in there, which I think is really cool. You get the cage there, and obviously pretty barren on the back, but still very cool to now have 4 of the monster figures. And we'll try to find a spot for him somewhere, maybe behind the Vivizord, possibly. Trying to get everybody in the frame here, kinda. Yeah, that works. So there we go. So that's going to go ahead and do it for today's video here. Just kind of showcasing the Dino Charge figures that I have so far, and adding a couple of them to the collection that I did not have or had not opened yet. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I think it was a lot of fun to do. I would definitely like to do some follow-up videos sometime in the future whenever I get more of these figures, but I don't know when that's going to be because they are so expensive and they're not on my, top on my priority list at all for trying to complete collections with stuff like that. Although I would like to eventually. So let me know down in the comments below, did you collect the Dino Charge / Super Charge figure line? What did you think of all the monsters, and which ones would you have wanted them to make that they didn't get to? And just overall, your thoughts on the whole era of Power Ranger toys back then as it was, because Dino Charge really was a perfect, golden, the last time we've had such a really good toy line for this franchise, and it's just kind of a shame that we haven't gotten something to that level since then, because it was really, really good when we had it back then. It was just a lot of fun. So, like I said, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you all for watching, and of course, until next time, you guys can follow me on Twitter at LivingRangerKey or LennyFigPR, and I'll see you all later. To wrap up this video, I'd like to thank my $5 and above patrons: Jurassic Samurai, Maggot Alchemist, Robert Browning, Static Thunder, Brendan Overland, Maji Yellow, MCPC Studios, Comics 1017, James Darty, John Luke, Eric Berry, Tyler Bezetsky, Matthew Thorne, Josh Landry, Pyramidas, CPT Tesla, Cross SCV, Caboose Ed, Socket Monsters, Anthony Love, Daniel Pika, Helagio, Thrasher, and Jesus Prime. You can support Toku Topics for as little as $1 a month on my Patreon, linked in the description below.